Okay, putting the front wheel on, this should be a fairly simple process, but for some reason people seem to really screw it up. You're going to put your axle through there with the spacers. Before you leave the pinch bolt over here on this side, leave that loose right here. And you're going to have to hold the axle, that's what that through hole's for right there. And then you're going to tighten up this side over here. Just line your axle up on there so I can install the fork brace, and I'll put the disc on later on. So we're going to tighten that up. That's about 50 foot-pounds right there. Now this side over here. So what actually happens, people usually will tighten this pinch bolt up right here. They'll tighten that up, and then they'll torque the axle down because they're figuring this is holding it. And they won't release the tension on this after they've tightened the axle, so it's pulled this fork over and made it stick, basically. So if you're going to do it like that, instead of holding this, you're going to do if you tighten up the pinch bolt and tighten the axle down, you need to release this again, because let the fork find its center. You bounce it up and down a couple of times with it loose, and then tighten it. The only reason I'm putting the front wheel on is to put the fork brace on there up here, because you need the front end lined up before you put the fork brace on. Okay, I have actually had guys with dual disc systems lock the front brakes up so bad that it warps the rotor, usually on the right side over here, because they pulled the fork over, and when it does, it pulls the brake rotor over against the disc. And I've had one where the guy actually rode like that for a long time. It bent the rotor, but it also distorted the caliper. It was so bad that the caliper was actually hitting, the caliper body was hitting the rotor. And how he got away with riding it that long for that far, I don't know. And it finally locked the front wheel up, threw him in the weeds. So just be careful with that stuff. That's about it for front axle. I'm kind of long for doing the front axle, but it just annoys me that people do that. I've had, like I said, I've had a couple of mechanics. I had a mechanic that did it once and told them, you need to check that, and had to tell them every week that shit. And second one, it actually happened. It warped the damn rotor, and let it slide. Don't do it again. And then third time, bought a rotor. And I told him every time you do it from now on, you're buying a new rotor. So he learned the lesson. But let me put this fork brace on here. Everybody have a good week. Thanks for watching. It's just a little tech tip, things to look out for.